Am I still very bullish on Moonriver? Yes, and its native cryptocurrency called MOVR reaching the price of $700 during this bull run, that's still my price target, even though that's not financial advice. But some people may be thinking, okay, Moonriver, the name is cool, sounds a little bit fancy, but you know what? MOVR can't do that. Moonriver is a Kaka project, but I'm going to disagree on that because I think that Moonriver is actually a very special project. I don't think it's going to be the biggest project of all time, but I think it could be something special during this bull run. And let me explain why. Because if you take a look at Moonriver, it is an Ethereum-compatible blockchain environment on the Kusama network. And it's intended to operate on Kusama as a parachain. And as a result of that, it does help projects reach new users and markets through a multi-chain approach. Now, people may be thinking, okay, this is very complicated. Let's simple things down a bit. Basically, if you take a look at Moonriver, it is a canary network to Moonbeam. Now, you may be thinking, okay, what is Moonbeam? And let me explain the relation here. Again, we all know that Moonriver is on Kusama. Kusama is a canary network to Polkadot. And Moonbeam, it's on Polkadot. And again, Moonriver, of course, is on Kusama. And then Moonriver is a canary network to Moonbeam again. So you get the relation there. It's basically like the Kusama, but then for Moonbeam, if that makes sense. How much like, Kusama is a canary network to Polkadot. Now, let's break this down because if we take a look at Moonbeam, what is so special about it? Moonbeam, if you take a look at it, basically what it does is that it allows for the power of Polkadot while at the same time maintaining the ease of use of Ethereum. Why is this special? Because if you take a look at Polkadot, it aims to connect blockchains together. It's focused on interoperability. Many blockchains out there, many networks out there, they can't freely send data and value to each other, which of course is a very bad situation because of course lacking interoperability is not that great. Like for instance, you take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. Because they're independent of one another, they can't freely send data and value to each other, meaning that they lack interoperability. What is the solution? That's through Polkadot. That's how amazing it is. They understand that in order to have blockchain adoption increase in a massive way, there has to be interoperability here. And again, this could play a very vital role. Imagine if I'm using AT&T and I can't call my friend who's using T-Mobile just simply because of the fact that I'm using a different carrier. That would be a bad situation. Now, of course, that problem doesn't exist. But imagine if it did. In the world of blockchains, this problem is still somewhat there. So, of course, something like Polkadot is very vital, in my opinion, in terms of connecting blockchains together. And now, if you take a look at how I said how previously Moonriver is basically a canary network to Moonbeam, much like how Kusama is to Polkadot, let me explain the benefit of a canary network. And let's use Kusama and Polkadot as an example, because this example is also, in my opinion, directly going to apply to Moonriver and its relation to Moonbeam. If you take a look at it, for instance, a project that usually wants to launch on Polkadot, they will typically launch on Kusama first as a way to test out the project under real economic conditions, meaning that they can test it out, and if they like it, they can move on to Polkadot later on. Now, you may be thinking, okay, why is this so beneficial to start off with Kusama? It's because it's usually a lot cheaper to rent building space on Kusama, and also it's far easier to make changes on. So just a good segue to Polkadot eventually if they want to. They don't have to move on to Polkadot, but they have that option, again, if they want to in the future. So this is basically like a test drive, and then Polkadot is like the real deal. It's like buying the actual car or leasing it or whatever, installment plan, whatever the case may be. So again, it's a good way to funnel in projects that may not have the resources, or maybe they do, but they just want to test it out. And again, funneling that into Polkadot. Now, again, Moonriver is basically like that, but then for Moonbeam. Now, you may be thinking, okay, Moonbeam isn't that special, but again, when you have a project much like Moonbeam, which is offering the power of Polkadot and the ease of use of Ethereum, I think this is a total game changer because after all, Ethereum, we all know, is notoriously known for its ease of use. However, on the flip side, Polkadot is very fantastic in terms of its fundamentals. So what is a good way to combine that in a sense, I would view it at least? Something like Moonbeam, which again offers the power of Polkadot and the ease of use of Ethereum. So this is how wonderful it is. So when you take a look at Moonriver, people like to say, oh, it's a Kaka thing, all this type of stuff. Well, the way you take a look at it is that it's basically like a support system to Moonbeam, much like how Kusama is a support system to Polkadot. This is like the Robin. And when it comes to Moonbeam, that's like the Batman. You know what I mean? Every superhero needs a sidekick. In some cases, that's the way to take a look at it. And a good sidekick in this case for Moonbeam, I think, is Moonriver. So it's a total game changer in my opinion. The way you take a look at it is that if I'm bullish on Polkadot, then of course I'm going to be bullish on Kusama. But then if I'm bullish on Kusama, of course I'm going to be bullish on Moonriver. But then if I'm bullish on Moonriver, why would I not be bullish on Moonbeam that's on Polkadot? So this is kind of like the way you take a look at the cycle. I'm bullish on Polkadot, I'm bullish on Kusama, Moonriver, and Moonbeam because they're kind of like sort of interconnected in a way. That's the way to take a look at it. So that's why I like it so much. I love this whole Polkadot ecosystem, if that makes sense, and just anything related to Polkadot in general, usually speaking. Now, here's the thing. People may think, okay, Moonriver is complete trash, even despite all that. And here's the thing. You take a look at, for instance, Moonriver is home to the most active decentralized finance ecosystem on Kusama, which is, I think, a big deal. And it even supports ERC 721 NFT bridging with Ethereum, which I think is fantastic. Now, NFTs, they may not be on the rise or whatever like that because people think it's a little bit caca, but according to Grandview Research, the NFT market is predicted to be worth over $200 billion by 2030. And also, yet again, by that year, something else that's expected to be worth over $200 billion in terms of market valuation, according to yet again Grandview Research, is the DeFi market. So when you take a look at Moonriver being home to the most active DeFi ecosystem on Kusama and having this NFT aspect in terms of its bridging with Ethereum, that right there, I think, is fantastic for its future. Not to mention as well, Moonriver is home to the most active ecosystem of projects on Kusama. So that's very fantastic. And if you think about it, people like to say, okay, Moonriver is not going to have the best adoption in the next 6 months to a year. That doesn't matter in my opinion, because if you take a look at Solana, that does not have good adoption. There's a lot of meme coins on Solana. I love some Solana meme coins like Myro, Maneki, When. Of course, Book of Meme is very popular. You take a look at also Dog with Hat. That's great and all, but it doesn't necessarily mean that Solana has great adoption. That's not the case, I think, because again, if something is primarily known for meme coins, that doesn't automatically mean that it has good adoption. Again, there's good meme coins. Adoption isn't the best. There's also Jupiter on Solana, but who cares about that? But here's the thing. If you take a look at, even despite that, Solana has done very well. Why? It's because it has good perceived adoption, if that makes sense. And also another key takeaway, in my opinion, is the fact that when Solana grew, what went along with the ride? Book of Meme, Dog with Hat. So then once Polkadot really takes off in a massive way, because it really hasn't gained that mainstream retail hype like a Solana, for instance, or like a BNB or an Ethereum. But imagine if it does, guess what's going to go along with the ride? I think not only Kusama, but then also Moonbeam. And naturally, I think as those two go up, I think Moonriver is going to tag along. So this is the way to take a look at it. If I'm bullish on Polkadot in general, I'm also going to be bullish on Moonriver. And keep in mind, again, Moonriver doesn't need the best adoption because people usually care about perceived adoption as opposed to adoption in its current form. So MOVR, the price is $700. I don't see why not. Keep in mind, if it were to go to that price, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $6.5 billion, which is around a 48x from here. So it's not going to be the best. But when you consider how Dogecoin reached over 80 billion, this isn't even like 10% of that, Also, Shiba Inu reached around 40 billion. I'm not saying that MOVR is going to have these record-breaking numbers or whatever, but the way you take a look at it is that this market cap doesn't seem that bad at least. And even historically speaking, we do know that altcoins, as a worst-case scenario, they usually peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. And the last Bitcoin halving event happened back in April, so 18 months from then would actually mean around October of this year, because again, April of 2024, you add 18 months from then is October of 2025. Now, this is just speculative. History doesn't always repeat itself, but I think this does give a good benchmark as to when we could very well see altcoins usually reach a very nice peak as a worst-case scenario, again, historically speaking. Also, not to mention, you take a look at Charles Hoskinson. He did state that anywhere between a year to 2 years from a video that he was a part of back in November, he said that he could very well see Bitcoin reaching anywhere between $250,000 all the way up to $500,000. That's insane. If let's say Bitcoin were to just go to the price of $250,000, MOVR at the price of $700 at that point may seem a little bit bearish in my opinion. And it's just a waiting game as of right now. All I gotta do is stay patient, continue to accumulate MOVR hold, and again, just simply wait because that's the only thing I can control. And why would I not wait? There's currently over 600 million crypto owners according to Crypto.com research, more than ever before in history. I'm very bullish on Moonriver. I'm very bullish on the crypto space overall. I think it's just a matter of time. It's kind of like a waiting game, but I'm willing to wait. I'm going to acquire more MOVR at the meantime. And again, $700 for this bull run wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gained value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's Malik the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.